What is up, guys? I don't know what this channel's called. I can't give you an introduction as to what this channel's called. WP is here, it's just a placeholder at the moment. As for what it's gonna be called, I'm not even sure. It does something. The man, a man, I don't know. But this is just a placeholder, like I said, and who knows, maybe it will be called one of those names. Now, why did I choose this movie first? Because this is probably my most watched movie. As a young kid, I watched this a million times. I probably know every single line in this movie. It's not even a good one, and that's one thing for sure. As a matter of fact, this movie is so bad that it's good. That's how I describe The Marine. It has cheesy acting, well-known cliches, and explosions. At some points during this movie, you'd think this was a Michael Bay movie. In this video, I cover the first Marine. As you know, WWE produced this action flick and 20th Century Fox distributed it. The Marine was released on October 13, 2006 to movie theaters worldwide, and it drew $22 million on a $15 million budget, which is a success, and at that point, it was the highest grossing film that was ever made by the WWE. And with the DVD sales, the whole movie made about $52 million. John Cena and Robert Patrick, the Terminator, started in this movie. Originally, it was going to be Al Pacino and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Once Steve Austin left the company in 2004, plans changed. Then Pacino turned down the movie because of the low pay, I think, and he was going to play Rome while Austin was going to play Triton. Once things changed, John Cena was asked to play the lead role John Triton, and he accepted. WWE wrote him off by claiming he was stabbed at a nightclub. Now, personally, I love watching wrestlers in movies. It's a different world from them, and I never get bored by the movies, no matter how much they suck. Well, wait. Except for this one. This movie, I remember absolutely nothing about it except Ziggler being a cop and super kicking Rusev. I like the cameos Chris Jericho and others made in Matt Gruber. Anyways, let's get into it. The Marine in 2020. Who would have thought of this? Like, The Marine. Out of every movie I could have chosen, I chose The Marine. Okay, the movie starts off with Cena posing, and then all of a sudden they show Triton, the Marine, in Iraq. He's looking to save one of his partners from an attack, and the enemies were looking to behead him, and Triton was like, I gotta engage. But his team hadn't arrived yet, and he decided to disobey a direct order by going into business for himself. He jumped in there and he shot at everyone. This was like the super scene of WWE. He was unstoppable. Anyone that came in his way, he killed them with ease. He was rapid and agile, getting rid of the enemies. He went up to the hostages and he asked them if they were going home. And ever since I was a kid, I thought that was Matt Stryker. Then it was utter chaos. Guns, helicopters, and all hell. And one of those guys asked Triton, like, how are we gonna get around them? And he's like, we're going through them. Then they show Triton exercising at a military base in Stuttgart. One of the colonels asked for Triton to meet him outside, which meant somebody was in trouble. Due to disobeying the direct order, Triton's been discharged, and his response to this, I'm a Marine. So now he's got to go back to America, South Carolina to be precise. I believe this was shot in Australia. Anyways, when Triton came back, he was met by his wife, who latched onto him. This music, like, just listen to that. Is this Titanic or something? They made love to each other for hours, I assume. And Triton revealed that he's gonna struggle going back to normal life. Then they show us these two guys, Rome and this guy. He's referencing Scarface, you got it, man. And Rome didn't give a damn. You got it, man. Rome walks into this jewelry store and he sucker punches this guy to initiate a robbery. Then some guy gets up and is revealed he's a part of this, and Rome lets everyone know that he's unstable and he threatens to kill a woman if they don't open the door. The manager opened the door and he handed Rome the jewels. Rome removed the disc containing footage, and the guy told Rome that he's got to hit him and he's got to make it look real for the cops. Rome shot him square in the face, and now it was time to depart. Outside, Rome brings out an automatic weapon in plain daylight. In these 15 seconds, sum up how ridiculous this movie is. This guy, Morgan, shoots a freaking rocket launcher in the middle of the day, and Rome's no-selling this all while walking slowly. And then Morgan asks the crew if that was too much. Like, hello? You're doing this in broad daylight? What? Too much? Then they show a detective who questions the situation, and he thought that this thing wasn't a coincidence as those diamonds were delivered 24 hours earlier. Then we see Triton struggling to adapt to normal life. He's working here as a security guard, and we've heard the stories of how guys and gals who were previously in the army struggle to adapt. And then there's this scene.
Oh, really? It doesn't look like a whorehouse. Where's all the other whores, huh? Where's your pimp? You're with him. That's the reason why you didn't answer your cell phone all weekend.
This guy's insulting this lady with a lot of terms, and Triton's finally got some action. This guy refused to leave the premises, and he called Triton flat top. They tried forcing him out of the building, but then his goons got involved, and this led to a scuffle between the security guards and the guys, and they brawled, and this ended with that guy going through a window. What this meant was Triton was basically fired. First day, or first week, he's fired from a job. Like, come on. He couldn't adapt to life.
You're fired!
His skills were close quarter, hand-to-hand combat, demolition, and that kind of stuff. Like, he's not fit for the normal life.
I think I'm gonna go home and see my wife.
Yeah, she's hot. Huh?
They then transition to the jewel store thieves, and Rome meanwhile gets a call from this unknown man. He threatened Rome, stating that he'll break all hell on him if he doesn't bring him those diamonds, to which Rome responded that won't happen as he's making good on his promise. Meanwhile, Triton was on the news. He tells Kate that he's not been able to adapt to living normally. She told him that they could go somewhere in the morning and just take off, forget about everything. After a bit, Triton reluctantly accepted. Back to the jewel thieves. We then find Morgan, who's searching for a getaway car, and he assumed this guy was Lincoln Kennedy. The guy repeatedly denied it was him until later on. They mentioned rock candy, which gave Morgan some kind of flashback to some kind of incident, and he meets this guy, Frank. He promised Morgan and the crew a car, and Morgan was expecting a cool-ass car only to be given a freaking minivan. He claims that he's a criminal, not a soccer mom, and the guy said that he could have Johnny, that guy, the mechanic, throw some spinners on it, and his response, well, here it is.
Fuck you!
In the end, he didn't even take the car. He laid his eyes on a Cadillac, and he broke the fourth wall, and his look was like, I gotta take it, and he did. Meanwhile, Triton and Kate were heading for the mountains, but before they made it there, they pulled over at a gas station, and there's the crew. Triton's going in there to grab some snacks, and Morgan notices Rome chatting with a police officer who I believe was Cody Rhodes, and this scene is once again proof that this movie is crazy. The crew were paranoid and filled with fear, as they were basically gonna get caught. So the officer was speaking about Cadillacs in Las Vegas, when Morgan, the lunatic, pulls out his weapon and he shoots him in the head. Triton realizes what's going on and he tries to sprint to his vehicle, but Bennett blasts him with a freaking fire extinguisher. Rome shot at the officer's partner, effectively leaving him in critical condition. Rome decided, let's take that truck, which was John Triton's truck, and he should take Kate as a hostage. A face John Triton watched on as his wife was being taken away. Morgan adds fuel to the fire, literally by shooting at the damn hose in order to trigger an explosion. The whole gas station exploded, and at this point we assumed Triton was dead, but have no fear, this isn't John Triton we're talking about, this is John Cena. He takes the police vehicle and takes matters into his own hands, and it was go time. Triton lets the highway patrol know what's going on, and if things weren't already crazy, be prepared. John Triton managed to catch up to the crew, and Morgan let us know that he hated rock candy, and they all pulled out their weapons. The car took all the damage while Triton held on to body armor. He didn't give a damn. He continued following them, he didn't give a damn if he died, I guess. Rome lets them know that they're doing a bad job, and Triton's vehicle turned into a convertible. And this is the best part.
This guy's like the Terminator.
Then they reach a dead end and they open fire on the former Marine, and he seemed like he was unfazed, but he bumped into their vehicle and fell into a lake, all while those maniacs were opening fire. Okay, now he's actually gone. The crew started to have issues with one another, and Morgan continued to complain.
Morgan's gonna do what? Shut up, boy!
At the gas station, Detective Van Buren checked out the crime scene, and the sheriff let him know that John Triton was the one who called in. All of a sudden, we see Van Buren check out the other crime scene, and there he was. Did this guy summon powers from the Undertaker or something? How do you explain this? First of all, he survived an explosion, and now he survived that? Come on. Triton was basically a one-man vigilante. He didn't give a damn if the police were gonna go through and try to look for his wife or try to catch the criminals, and so he decided to take matters into his own hands. The search team began looking for the jewel crew, but to no avail. Morgan continued to air his grievances. Versera, this guy, continued to piss off Morgan, and this left Rome with no other choice but to kill Versera. Triton meanwhile got caught in a trap, and he did find himself a weapon, but in this situation it didn't help. Those two guys held him captive, and they were so paranoid, claiming that he's a cop. He denied having anything to do with law enforcement before deciding to use it as a tactic against those two. He mentioned GPS and stuff like that, and this gave him the advantage. The two were arguing, and Triton used this as a distraction to jump off the chair and break it, and then kick both of their asses. He used a shoulder tackle, several punches, rights and lefts before tackling one of those guys, and he escaped. As for the crew, they found this abandoned lodge, and Triton from a distance noticed this, and he began plotting. And for the millionth time, Morgan complained about the lodge and how he was forced to find the generator for this place. Just listen to this.
Oh, but it smells like baked ass.
He mentioned something that happened to him when he was 13 and how he was given rock candy, and Rome, he heard enough. When Morgan tried to power the generator, and he successfully did, Triton once again appeared, and they engaged in a fight that involved knives, beer bottles, and in the end, Triton laid out Morgan wasn't going to come back after this one. Triton began to eavesdrop on Rome's conversation, and he heard his plans for getting away from the city. Then Rome began to worry about Morgan, and he sent Bennett down there to check on him. Once Bennett went down there and noticed Morgan was nowhere to be found, Triton from the depths of hell came from out of nowhere. They fought back and forth for a few seconds before Triton chokeslammed Bennett through some crates, and he laid his body next to Morgan as the detective noticed this. Van Buren suggested Triton stay here while he takes care of it, but he wasn't having it. Meanwhile, Triton and Van Buren made their way into the lodge, and Rome revealed that the mystery guy was Van Buren. The reason why he was here was because he was after his cut. Rome told him to kill Triton and he'll hand him 50% of the diamonds. Van Buren began contemplating whether or not to shoot Triton or Rome before John sprinted up to him and blocked Rome's shots. Rome shot up the place and he caused an explosion that John managed to escape once again. He's unstoppable, I'm telling you. Rome and Angela along with Kate escaped, and then this moment, like, I hated this officer when I was a kid. Triton's trying to explain everything, but this damn cop didn't want to hear any of it. He just wanted to handcuff him and he just wanted to take him away.
John Triton, shut up! They have my wife. Shut up, boy!
But then Triton decided to take a page out of GTA's book and arrest the officer and steal his boat. So how many stars is that? 2 stars? The crew ditched the police vehicle and they hijacked a semi-truck. Triton was aware of their location as he eavesdropped in earlier, and he sprinted. At this point. You'd think he was using Bolt or rapid pace. He managed to catch up to the truck and throw Angela into a moving bus with all the diamonds. Damn, he's got no chill. He was fed up. This guy, he is absolutely brutal. He doesn't give a damn if you're a man or a woman. If you're in his way, you're going down. Rome tried to get Triton off the truck driving next to the edges, but he wouldn't give up. He finally let go, but he didn't quit. He noticed the truck driving into a bunch of barrels, and he ran and ran and ran to save his wife, and Rome left her in the car and ditched her like that San Andreas mission. The vehicle went straight into the sea. As for Triton, he ran straight into a Rome-led pipe. Rome nearly cut his legs off with that shot, and Kate was drowning. Triton struggled to make a comeback, and they engaged in some back and forth. Triton nearly had his face ripped off, but he managed to make a comeback. Triton fought back, and despite taking a sledgehammer to the ribs, he didn't back down. He punched and punched and punched Rome to send him into the burning warehouse, and Triton then sprinted and managed to avoid another catastrophe for the 100th time. This time, though, he was going underwater. Triton managed to rescue Kate despite the odds stacked against him. He performed CPR, but to no avail, and at this point, he assumed she was dead. Then she coughed up some water, and she finally woke up. And they put on that music, but then the boogeyman from out of nowhere emerges. That's what I thought it was as a kid, but it was just Rome, obviously. He tried choking out Triton, but he unleashed some of that John Cena fighting spirit by basically killing him. Triton tells his wife that they should have gone to the beach, and that's it.
Should have gone to the beach.
Now, this movie should just be seen as a popcorn flick. If you see it as anything else, you'll definitely hate it, and even then you might dislike this one. As for what my thoughts on this are, it kind of sucks, but since I watched it a million times, I can't really hate it. Cena in this movie was just like his character at the time. Unstoppable. Sure, you can stop him at the moment, but eventually he's gonna come at you. As for the genre of this movie, this was pure action and comedy. Robert Patrick had to carry this one on his back. It had a few unintentional funny moments. As for the intended funny moments, there were some, not many. They mostly involved Morgan. The characters weren't really memorable, bar Triton and Rome. Kate didn't really have much dialogue. Bennett, I don't even remember a single line he had. Angela did have some moments, but they involved her fighting Kate, that's all. Morgan, well, scratch what I said earlier. That moment he cussed out that mechanic makes him memorable in my eyes. So that's the Marine. Next video, next movie, The Chaperone. I guess that movie sucks so badly, and I watched it yesterday, unfortunately. But fortunately, I'm going to make a video on it, so yeah. We'll make The Chaperone, 12 Rounds, Walking Tall, all those kinds of movies in the future, hopefully. That's it for this video. Make sure you hit a choke slam on the like button, and perhaps an FU on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.
Not afraid to fail, always making advances.